What's going on, people? So let me review Tomb Raider from the PS3, the Xbox 360 that got ported over to the Xbox One, and the PS4 because the definitive edition, I feel like, not looking at it definitively, I'm looking at it from the fact that I just beat it. I don't want Nathan Drake as a woman. I don't. Tomb Raider does not need to be Nathan Drake female. Lara Croft was here before Nathan Drake was thought of. Why do we need the Uncharted female edition? We got that with Uncharted Lost Legacy and it sucked. We don't need a female Nathan Drake. We need Lara Croft to be Lara Croft. And I've watched other people review this game and they feel the same way. Unfortunately, Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, y'all came together to reboot a franchise that probably didn't need it, but it might have. I don't know. I wasn't big into Tomb Raider to begin with. However, from everything I've gathered from me playing the game, it really missed the spot. It came out looking more like a Uncharted female edition rather than a Tomb Raider game. It really, because I couldn't stop looking around. I'm sitting there running around looking at the environment. I'm like, this is what I do in Uncharted, not Tomb Raider. And you literally have to figure out where all the tombs are. On top of having to figure out where the tombs are, you have to then go explore the tomb, and they're never as epic as you believe they would be. They're almost kind of a miss entirely. Like, you don't even need to go through most of them, because I didn't. I literally skipped probably half of them and still beat the game because I only did the ones that were required because there was something I needed in them. So overall, Tomb Raider, the definitive edition, that was a game that was made for the PS3 360 and got ported to the PS4 and Xbox One, is mediocre. It's right there in the middle. It's a solid 5 out of 10 because I don't want Nathan Drake's Uncharted in a dress. I don't want Nathan Drake's Uncharted in booty shorts or tight-ass jeans. I want Tomb Raider to be Tomb Raider, and I want Uncharted to still be Uncharted. These need to be different. Even if they're a little bit the same, they need to be different. Because Lara Croft was here first, and just because Uncharted came out and said this is what Tomb Raider could be upgraded, doesn't mean Tomb Raider needs to be that upgraded Uncharted game. It just could be like, hey, we see what you did. We're hitting Tomb Raider with the graphics, but we're still keeping that Tomb Raider-esque vibe that you've gotten the entire time. This game just didn't do it for me. And again, I was never big into Tomb Raider. I never was. I was like, whatever, you can enjoy that all you want to. Recognized it as the female empowerment game that it is. Didn't bother me. It just wasn't for me. So, going into this, I was probably like 25% a Tomb Raider player. This isn't going to make me a hardcore Tomb Raider fan. It won't make anybody a hardcore Tomb Raider fan. I do have this sequel to play through, and I have been playing it a little bit, but again, it took me over it took me over a year to even beat the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. It's probably going to take me a couple of years to beat Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider. What is with these fucking names? Because not only are they confusing, but they get on my nerves, and just because Batman did it doesn't mean Tomb Raider needs to go with it either, nor does any other fucking movie. Anyway, I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider back when it was on sale after about a year and a half of it coming out, and it was like huge deep discount and had all the DLC. And then Shadow of the Tomb Raider Game Pass. So it's not like I'm spending mega money on these games, and again, the first one is still like a good solid 5 out of 10, just mediocre. You'll enjoy it to play through if that's all you're wanting to do, but if you're like a huge Lara Croft fan, I really don't think this is going to be a game that you're like, yay! And I know how late the review is and everything. Like I said, it took over a year to beat this game just because it wasn't doing anything for me. But I finally sat down today and just said, let me see. Not only is it mediocre, the way the guns are handled versus the bow and arrow, they really want you to play with that bow and arrow over everything else. I've never seen handguns, shotguns, and ARs nerfed as bad as in Tomb Raider. I mean, you're literally unloading clips at point blank range on some of these assholes, and they're still just absorbing all that damage and not dying. They kill you easier than you kill them. And it doesn't matter what difficulty you play it on, even if you're playing it on normal, or you're playing it on easy, or you're playing it on hard. Doesn't matter. These enemies are basically bullet sponges. The developers obviously wanted to use the bow and arrow over everything because it takes between 2 to 3 arrows to kill one person, and it takes damn near 10 to 15 shots from any gun to kill somebody. It doesn't matter what gun you use, and that reload time, oh my god. For her to reload the gun, you can die just because you ran out of bullets, and while switching back and forth is easy, it's just this part got on my nerves. I'm like, you hit me with swarms of enemies, but you nerfed my gun. Like, to the point where it's useless. To the point you had to put explosive barrels and explosive setups in there just to give the person a chance. This wouldn't have been the case if they wouldn't have nerfed the handgun or the shotgun or the AR. If they would have balanced it out and been like, okay, you have an AR, obviously this should be more powerful than a handgun. Instead of eight bullets, it takes 4. And then with the shotgun, depending on the range, if they're right there up on you, you hit them one time, they're dead. If they're like 3 feet away from you, hit them one time, they're dead. Because with shotguns, we all know the shotgun comes out and goes in this, does like a sporadic spread and goes out. But it was acting like I was using a handgun, shooting, and just boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, this is annoying because I don't die this often in a video game. And the reason I keep dying is because of the reload factor. Every time I died, it was because I had to reload my gun, or I ran out of ammo and had to switch guns, which needed to be reloaded then. There's just a lot of problems. And I know the game is cheap, and like I said, it's nothing against the game. If I was reviewing this game when it came out at $60, I'd definitely give it like a 3 out of 10. But because I reviewed it now and I paid $10 for it, it gets a 5 because it is mediocre. But the graphics do save it. The story does save it. The handling doesn't. But the story is good enough, and the graphics are good enough. So it is what it is.